On this channel, we talk about investing on a regular basis, and we try to find ways in which we can either save, invest, and of course, cut back on expenses, or just avoid unnecessary debt and things like that. But for today's video, I want to focus on how we can save more when it comes to building, whether it's an investment account or even if it's just saving for emergencies. Whatever the case may be, these tips would definitely help. Now, why am I covering this? Well, I've often gotten some questions in the past about, starting an investment account or how to build emergency fund in a way that it can be done efficiently and in a fast way. Now, none of this will be achievable without having income. You have to have an income to even get started. But before we get into the details of all of this, if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. And of course, I would appreciate letting me know what you gained from this video in the comment section below. And of course, if you have any questions, leave it below as well. Now, the first thing I want to start with is, what are you working on? Are you working towards an investment account, in building that investment account up? So that means you're consistently investing. Or are you trying to build an emergency fund? So that means you're trying to save for an emergency fund. Or are you trying to save towards maybe down payment of a house, a car, and the likes? Depending on what the goal is, will determine what strategy we would apply. For the people that I'm talking to in this video, I'm talking about people who are trying to maybe save for a purpose. Maybe they want to save a down payment or build up an emergency account. So what am I going to focus on? Well, the first thing that I will let you understand is that in order to save anything, all right, the first step you want to do is automate this process. You see, one of the things that will prevent anybody from achieving anything is their feelings, their fears, their worries, their doubts, and of course, forgetting, right? You can always forget. So if you are worried about, let's assume that, would I have enough to spend towards other things? So let me not save yet. Let me make sure I cover all these other things first. Guess what? There's a chance that you will not save at all, or you won't save as much as you could have done. And that is something that you want to avoid. You want to kind of eliminate yourself from the picture, from that decision-making process, and let automation take over. So if you automate, let's assume $100 every week, or if it's automating $1,000 every week, whatever your paycheck looks like, right? Automate a certain amount, just count it as a bill that is automated. Let it automatically be taken out. Now, if your income fluctuates, it's okay to be a little conservative on the automated aspect. So let's assume it's, some weeks maybe you might make a lot more than other weeks. It's okay to set an average of what you believe is comfortable. We are not done yet, okay? This is the starting point. We're starting with this. So we automated amount out of the account in such a way that we don't have to think about it, it's automatically done. So if that number is $500, let it be done automatically. Again, that means we've taken ourselves out of it. We won't forget about doing it, or we won't spend too much and realize that, we haven't saved. So all of that would be avoided. The next thing we then have to do is to save intentionally, okay? So when we've automated this amount out, the next question you want to ask yourself is, how much can I really save based on what is left? Because that is how we train ourselves to work with the numbers that we have. So for example, the recommended number out there is to save 20% of your income, your net income, by the way. A lot of people forget that when you go take out loans, especially car notes or mortgage notes, they generally will tell you, hey, how much do you make? They look at your gross income to determine how much you can get. Of course, they look at the debt to income ratio, but the point here is they focus more on that, your gross income, in determining these numbers, when in reality what you want to focus on is your net income, because you are the one that knows your tax brackets that you fall into, who knows what other expenses come out before the money actually gets into your account, whether it's a paycheck, for example. So you want to use your net income to determine most of these affordability checks that is often ignored because they use the gross income. But let's get back to it. Once you look at what really gets into your account, you want to then try to save something close to that 20% or more. So whatever you've automated out, let's assume it falls to like 10% of that income that is set automatically. Then of course you now want to ask yourself, how can I save another 10% more? Or how can I save 15% more or 30% more, right? Depending on what your expenses may look like for that period. Because remember, every month will be different. And that is why the next point will be having a budget. Because if you have a budget, then you can always tailor that budget to fit a specific situation. Now, this will require a bit of work, and it's simple. Even if it's a paper and a pen, it will do. Just look at your expenses for the month. What are my expenses for this month? You know, it's food, it's, you know, transportation, it's gas, it's all this stuff. You write it out. Add the numbers up. Those are your expenses. Anything outside of what you've written down is, again, maybe not necessary, or it's something that is unplanned for. And that's okay, because sometimes emergencies come up, unplanned events will come up, but at least they are all accounted for in those numbers. Then what is left, subtracted from what the expenses taken out from the income, now you know what is left, okay? What is left is how much you can still try to save, of course. And that is where you ask yourself, can I actually push the boundaries? Instead of just saving 10%, can I actually save 20%, or can I save 30%? If you have more room to do so, do it, because it will help you speed up the process of saving. The next point is, of course, big one in relation to budget, will be cutting expenses. If you can cut your expenses, it means that you can have more room in what you can save. And remember, your expenses will be different from week to week, sometimes month to month, and that's okay. But realizing what is not necessary and eliminating that from your expense tab or the list of things you're spending money on can save you a lot of money in the long run. When we do this, the next thing we want to do is to focus on avoiding debt. You see, a lot of times we have credit card debt that we put money on and we don't pay it off. And when we do that, guess what? We find ourselves chasing our tail, trying to pay off credit card, paying interest on it. And those interests you're paying for are things that are also taking a chunk from the money that could be saved, which is why you want to avoid credit card debt as much as possible. It is important to remember that the process of saving is a journey. And as long as you can focus on the goal and you're willing to make sacrifices along the way, you are likely to achieve the set goal. Whether it's saving a down payment for a house, whether it's saving money for a car, whatever that is. If you have a goal and you can set a plan in place that you can stick to for a duration of time, of course, by being patient, by being diligent in getting this thing done on a regular basis, you will get to achieve that goal. And this same would apply for anything you're trying to do, whether it's investment or whether it's just becoming better. All of this requires that you stay focused and do the work, and of course, make sacrifices along the way. If you've stayed up until this point, I appreciate you watching this video. Please don't forget to drop a like on it and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'd love to see you in a future one.